Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Make and Decorate with Stephanie podcast. This is season 5, episode 97. And this is the season 5 mid-season finale where I will take a break and record new guest episodes in January. I will be back with new episodes in early February. The music you are hearing now is called Canon Variation by Twin Music.com, and it is from the YouTube free audio library. I thought that it would be nice to switch out this episode's music with the holiday vibe. My guest today is Kristin Esser from the Simple Handmade Everyday podcast. We talk about her recent primary bath renovation, and I helped her with a bit of some of the interior design with that project. Plus, of course, we talk about quilting, knitting, and cross-stitch. And for a time reference, we recorded this in mid-October. I'm recording this first segment on Monday, December 12th. All right, so let's get into Chit Chat. Just a reminder, you can fast forward about 20 minutes to get straight to the guest interview. I don't know where you are, but here in the Chicago area, everyone is getting sick. 6 people in my husband's department were out sick the same day last week. It was beginning of the week, and I knew it was not good news. And sure enough, at the end of the week, my husband came home with COVID. So I have been slightly freaking out because it is likely I will get it next. But I've been wearing a mask, keeping him out of the kitchen, and using a separate bathroom. I took a test this morning, and so far, so good, negative. Because of my vertigo still hanging around, I have had limited sewing time in my studio. I was finally able to sew for about a 3-hour block last week, which was the first time in about 3 weeks I could do that. It was really great. I missed it a lot. And plus, I got an early Christmas gift from my husband this year, and it is a new wall-mounted TV in my studio. Oh, what a difference. It's so great. I don't have to squint to see the small computer monitor jerry-rigged with a Roku box. However, that is a pretty brilliant setup my husband did. Who knew that you could just set up a Roku box to a computer monitor? But if there's an HDMI port, you can. This new 32-inch TV, though, is a really nice upgrade, and it's on that wall bracket that swivels and everything. So I have a good view all around the studio, and then my office is just off the studio, and it's a straight shot view to the TV. And I have the YouTube Premium subscription, which includes YouTube Music, and I have that on a lot when I need to focus on sewing tasks, and it's ad-free, and I love it. I'm back to knitting as well. I've made many Christmas balls. Last week, I made 3 of the mini-size Christmas balls from the Arne and Carlos pattern. And those are for my tree. I knitted them in a 2-color scheme of burgundy and blush yarn to go with my whole rose gold / burgundy tree theme this year. They are really cute. I really love these mini Christmas balls because they're twice as fast to make, and they're a nice, cute little size. So, yeah, those are a quick knit. I knitted a bunch of the larger balls that I'm going to gift away to some of my family, and my niece specifically asked for the gingerbread man one. So that one is for her. And I put cute little green crystals on the 3 buttons on the gingerbread man just to give it a little bit of sparkle. And So that's pretty much it with the crafting, sewing, no quilting yet. But it's coming. It will be coming. Another update to my sewing studio is lighting. I'm updating and improving the lighting in my studio, and it has been a priority this year. So I figured let's do a mini lighting design lesson here. I cannot stress enough how important good lighting is overall. Ceiling or recessed lighting that everybody has is not enough for tasks. The three types of lighting I'm sure you have heard of are general, which are ceiling lights and recessed lighting, ambient, which could be dimmable lights, table lamps, floor lamps that are not designed to be task lighting. And the last type is task lighting. And this type of lighting shines the light you need directly on the task you are performing. So reading lights can be floor or table. A true reading light is a light that has an extension, an arm that puts the light over you and shines the light on what you're reading. It's not just a straight up and down floor lamp next to a chair. You can read a book with a floor lamp next to a chair, which is fine, but a reading lamp, a reading light, has an arm that puts the light exactly where it needs to go onto what you're reading. A desk task light is very similar to a reading task light. It extends over your desk work area where you need the light to be focused at. Sewing task lights are very important to us, and any type of light that is positioned over an area of task activities can be considered task lighting. Some people think that ambient lighting is unnecessary, but I think it is as important as general lighting. Ambient lighting is softer and it's cozy and can be very nice for conversational areas. And even dimmable chandelier lighting over dining tables creates an ambient lighted room. Candles are the ultimate ambient lighting. They are mood calming and soothing, especially in these long, dark winter days and nights, because we all know that the days are mostly dark as well. And it's nice to have some coziness to sort of lift your winter spirits. One more quick tip. Anywhere you can have dimmable light switches, do them. You can turn general and task lighting into ambient lighting with a dimmer switch. I love dimmer switches. They're like the best things in the the lighting world, I think. Even some holiday lights are also coming out with built-in dimmers. So earlier this year, I replaced the ugly and dull fluorescent ceiling light that I had with a flush mount crystal chandelier type light. And I love it. I so love it. It doesn't, give very much bright light output, but it generally lights the room, and the crystals cast these really pretty shadows across the ceiling. So it's just nice, nice lighting. And then where on my, where I work and sew, I have put task lighting. So I have a daylight table task light over my Bernina sewing machine. There's an IKEA task light I've had since my design school days. It's still working, and that is over my serger. And finally, a couple of weeks ago, I got a daylight floor lamp for my work table / cutting table, and also that's where my Juki sewing machine is. The final phase is the under cabinet lighting to light up the counter workspace where I have my Cricut maker and AccuQuilt machine. So, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, those were completed. I still have to add a few more under counter lights. My husband just put up one just to, test it out and see how I like it, and I love it. So he's got to install some more of those. And I just love the daylight lights. They are expensive. They really are. They are an investment, but I think they are worth it for your eyesight in working with detailed tasks like sewing, threading needles, seeing what you're stitching. And I always add on, it's an add-on, but I add on the clip-on magnifying glass, and that's very helpful too. You could just bend it down when you need it and bend it back up when you don't. It's very helpful, definitely, for threading needles, both hand and machine. And there's 4 light strengths too. So you can go all the way up to the brightest, or you can take it down a couple of notches. I notice in the evenings, you don't have to have it at the brightest level. I usually have it at the brightest level if it's daytime. And the profile of this daylight floor lamp and task lamp is it's a very low profile and slim. It takes up very little space, and again, it provides excellent task lighting. And just keep your eye on it. It may even be on sale right now towards the holidays here, and they do put it on sale periodically throughout the year. So keep your eye on that. It's the Daylight Company. And when you've been working in the dark for so long, and then you add proper task lighting, it is a huge difference. If you're like me, you will say, why? Why did I wait so long to do this? I'll tell you why. Fabrics, sewing machines, and patterns are so much more fun to buy, aren't they? I know lighting can be kind of boring and droll and expensive, but it is so important. It's very, very important. Even like in your kitchen, for food preps and stuff. This is where recessed lighting can also double as task lighting. If you have one of those recessed lights directly above a spot where you, let's say, have your cutting board and doing that kind of work. The only thing is, the ceiling lights, even if they are movable, because some of them definitely are tiltable, and when they're installed, you kind of like figure that out. But they're nice, and that's what I have in my kitchen for task lighting. But they also do cast a shadow because the light is way above you. And this is where the under counter lights really play a nice role in helping out with that. One more type of lighting that I want to mention is the types of LED lights that are motion activated. Those are so popular right now and just very helpful. They're going everywhere. They already have them in closets. They're very inexpensive too. I mean, they're not that expensive, and you can just add like a strip light inside of your closet, and when you open the doors, the light will come on. A lot of them, if they're, you don't want cords everywhere, so they will be battery operated. And you can also put that type of lighting under counters. We just put a round, it's probably like a 5-inch round motion activated light, LED light, at the bottom of our back porch stairs to the back door. they the porch light, like when we open our interior back door to go onto the porch, that's where the one light is. But then when you go down the stairs to the exterior back door, there is no light. And I years ago got from IKEA uh a simple light, was only had the cord and an aluminum shade and just a light bulb. Simple light that I wanted to put inside that doorway area to light it, but I didn't consider that there is no outlet right there, and my husband didn't want to have it direct wired, so that didn't work, and we continued to be in the dark down there. But as Cooper is getting older, he hesitates going down the stairs. And my husband came home with this light one day. Well, it was after he installed my under-counter lights into my studio. That gave him the idea. And he installed it, and it's battery operated, and it is amazing. I love it. We all love it. It's just the little simple thing as a little bit of light is amazing. And the one thing is, though, that it's not heated out there. So when the temperature gets cold, like the batteries don't work, and then the light doesn't work. So then my husband got these lithium ion type of batteries that are able to withstand cold down to, I don't know, very cold. I didn't even know that these type of batteries exist. So that was news to me, and so far so good. Those batteries are working great, and we are back in business, and it automatically turns off after a few seconds after you've there's no motion anymore. So I highly recommend those lights, and they're available at just any hardware store. And again, not really that expensive at all. All right, so that's going to wrap up my mini lesson for lighting. I hope that some of this was helpful to you. And if you have any questions, you can always let me know. I will put some links into the show notes for the Daylight Company, because for sewing, those are just great lights for that purpose. And even for hand stitching, cross stitching, and knitting, those are great lights to have for those tasks as well. I'm going to do just one quick what I am watching show to recommend, and that is on Acorn, and it is called Keeping Faith. It is a Welsh TV show filmed in Wales, and the main character, Faith, is an attorney in a small coastal town. Her attorney husband in the same family law firm, because his father is also was head of that law firm. Well, this husband goes missing, and they have 3 small kids, and it is full of mystery, bold characters, and of course, one of my favorite characters, as always, is the beautiful landscape, which in this show is the beach with rocky cliffs and these really big flat beaches that they drive right onto with their cars. So it's really beautiful. It's so cool. And there are 3 seasons to this show. I just finished the last season, and I didn't realize that was it. That was like the series finale. But at the very end of the show, I could tell. I was like, wait a second, this is really feeling like it's all over. Like it's a series ending. And I looked it up, and sure enough, that's what it was. So yeah, I really recommend that show. It's really great, and kind of a fresh sort of types of storylines. There are detective inspectors involved in mysteries, crime and murder mysteries along the way. But the story of this attorney, her family and in-laws, and trying to be a mom, as well as having her career, lots of drama and loads of fun. And if you don't have Acorn, you could probably knock this out, the 3 seasons, with one of their free 7-day trials over the holiday break. So maybe give that show a whirl. All right, here we are at the guest segment of the show. My guest is Kristin Esser. She is a small business owner, a mom to 3 grown children, and has a podcast called Simple Handmade Every Day. Kristin shares her creative life with us and, like me, is a multi-crafter. I absolutely love her podcast. And today we share a home rental project that we worked on together for her master bath. So let's get to it. Hi, Kristin. Welcome to my podcast. Yay.
Hi, Stephanie. So good to be here. I'm so excited.
I am excited too. This is going to be so much fun. And I listen to your podcast on the regular, and we have a lot of similarities, and we do have some differences too, which I think is fun.
Okay. What are the differences? I want to know.
The difference
You
is
so close, and I don't.
Well, yeah, I just started to get back into that again. That's what I sewed to begin with before I ever started quilting. But the main difference with us is you love organizing your home and I do not. I listen to you and you're just like, oh, this deep cleaning here and that there. And I'm just like, oh, God bless you, because he did not give me
I hear that, especially
that
a
skill.
few years ago, I was watching cleaning videos and recommending clean with me videos. And people were like, what are you talking about?
I have actually watched those to inspire myself. And some of them have worked. And others, I'm like, are you kidding me? Especially like some of these Japanese ones, because they are, I mean, I admire them. I really do. But they are fastidious to like the nth degree.
Yes.
Like the woman was washing out her dryer filter on like a weekly basis. It was, wow.
That's crazy. I watched one of those Japanese ones just the other day. And yes, I know what you mean. It's like just a little over the top. No.
Yeah.
I've never washed my dryer filter. I want you to know that.
I haven't either. I didn't even know that was a thing you should do.
I don't think it is.
Oh, that's too funny. So yeah, that's like one of our main differences.
Okay.
But we have a lot of similarities too. So I guess, I think we have similar audiences, listeners, but talk about, you quilt and you knit and you cross stitch. So what drew you to your creative hobbies?
It was definitely an evolution. So growing up, my mom was an amazing seamstress. When I was little, she made all my clothes. She made all my Halloween costumes. She made both my prom dresses. So I mean, she was amazing. So she also embroidered and did some cross stitch and even did like macrame in the 70s. So she was just, being creative and crafty, was not a stretch for me at all. She didn't really teach me to sew. I learned that in 8th grade home ec, and did through high school make some of my clothes and things like that. So that was all pretty normal. Then in my 20s, I kind of inherited my mom's sewing machine, and that's when I started like doing home decor stuff. So this was when would this be? Like the late 80s. So like puffy valances and toaster covers. Do you remember stiffy bows? You do these big dip, kind of like in this weird gluey starch stuff, and put these bows on baskets, and you put your towels in your bathroom. So I did all of that kind of stuff as I was first, kind of nesting in my own apartment. And then, then I worked, and it kind of all got dropped. until I had kids. And then I was a stay-at-home mom, absolutely loved it, but was kind of just looking for something to do for me. First, I tried taking French lessons.
Oh, how fun. It's hard though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. I love French. I took French in high school. I'm like, I'm gonna become fluent in French while my kids are little. Well, it was too much out of the house, language lab time, so that didn't work out. So I was like, okay, what can I do while we're watching TV or something? So I wanted to embroider, but my problem with embroidery is that I didn't know what I would do. Like I didn't want embroidered things in my house. It wasn't my style, but I like to do it.
Hmm.
And then I found knitting. I thought, okay, so that's interesting. So that's when I learned to knit. And I used to watch this TV show called Nitty Gritty. It
Hmm.
was, do you remember that show? I loved that show. And I taught, all my kids were like small, and I taught them all to knit so we could all sit there together and knit while I watched this show. Um, and then by getting into knitting, and that's when blogs were really big. I
Okay.
was following Soul Mama and Posy Gets Cozy, and they were making quilts, just simple patchwork quilts.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, I want to do that. So I thought it would be like a one and done. I'm going to make a quilt, and then I will have done that thing. I had no idea. so, so yeah, I ended up buying like 8 charm packs of French General because
Hmm.
I love that fabric line, and so that I didn't have to make any fabric choices. I was just like, I like all this, and I just sewed it together. And then I took a quilting class, and one thing led to another, and then I
Hmm.
was a quilter all of a sudden.
Oh,
So it was
wow.
just one
Yeah.
thing led to another.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's fun. And then more recently, I think you've returned to cross stitch. Is that right?
Yeah, so I did a little bit in my, my youth. I don't even exactly remember where. Never a lot, but for that, I work kind of closely with Fat Quarter Shop, and I do quilt alongs with them. And they asked me, "Do you cross stitch?" And at first, I just said, "No, no, that's just not my thing." And then they did the with Lori Holt, the Great Granny Square Along, and so I
Mm-hmm.
was joined in from a quilting level. But then I saw the little free chart from Fat Quarter Shop of a little cross stitch, and I was like, I have embroidery thread that I inherited from my mom. I'm like, I'm going to just see. And I even had the Ada cloth. My daughter had done a Christmas ornament one year. And man, I just got hooked. I just got hooked.
Wow.
It's just, I also like to hand piece. So I like handwork. I like to knit. I like to hand sew, hand quilt. And so
Hmm.
it's just another extension of that, I think of it as a little bit of a quieter hobby than sewing on a machine. I can just
Hmm.
sit down in the evening. It's easy. It's just in a basket by my chair. I can pick it up and put it down for
Yeah.
the last 10 minutes of my lunch break or whatever. And yeah, it's nobody is more surprised than me than I that I like cross stitch. But I also am back to my embroidery issues. I'm not exactly sure what to do with the projects because a lot of them are very homespun and cutesy, and that
Hmm.
is not my decorating aesthetic at all. So I'm not
Right.
hanging a bunch of samplers on my wall. So I don't know what I'm going to
Hmm.
do with them yet. I'm still exploring that.
Well, I saw the pillow you made, and that was really cute. And I think the pillows are the right choice for home decorating with that type of thing. And also, you can frame them. I have a client that does needlepoint mostly, and she's very good at it. She's been doing it for, decades. And
Uh-huh.
she cross stitched as well. And she did these beautiful, it was like a collection of these Victorian homes. And her home is a Victorian style home, but they were done in like lighter, softer pastel colors. And she had me frame them. And listen, when you invest in a custom framer, anything looks good. Anything looks good in a frame.
I
But
thought
these
that cross
actually
stitch
came
was,
out beautiful. They
I'm
were just
sure.
so gorgeous. Yeah. And then we hung them as a grouping. So I think that's how it looks best. I think if you're doing it for home decor, but that's just me and my little 2 cents in there.
No, I agree. And I thought that cross stitch was a really inexpensive hobby till I found out how much it costs to frame them. It's
Yes.
that is
Framing. I
crazy.
know it is crazy. It really is. And I mean, I'm even used to the prices now, and I'm like, really?
But then I have to think about, I mean, how much does just buying the backing of a quilt cost? I mean, so obviously
True.
quilting's not a cheap
Yeah.
hobby. But I do have an area in the eating area of my kitchen that we just have like a whiteboard that we use all the time on one and a calendar in the other. And I was looking at those walls thinking, I could maybe put some cross stitch there and things that are, I feel like just in the kitchen, the things that are a little bit more on the homespun side,
Yeah.
make more sense than hanging them in my living room or something. So I've got this kind of tucked away. I also love this whole idea. They have these like wooden, like a dough bowl, they call them, I guess maybe for ideas, be proofing it for a long, and you can take they take a lot of little cross stitch, like a 3-inch something, and turn those into little pillows and just stack those in the dough bowl. And that would be a cute way to just, knock out those small projects and, just have them on a table somewhere.
Cute.
Yeah. So that's my other plan.
I did cross stitch a few projects as a kid, but I never really like stuck with it. And then even now, I just have no interest at all.
I'm going to get you hooked. I've gotten a few people hooked since I've started this, and I'm very proud of that.
Because it's just, to me, it just seems so monotonous of just, you're doing either X's or you're following like to the T these little teeny tiny like boxes and stitches.
See, you say monotonous. I say, Zen-like, meditative. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. You can also like knock back a lot of audiobooks and TV shows while you're doing this too.
No, it's true. But I prefer, I brought some of my little projects here, but I much prefer like the hand embroidery to.
Oh, how cute. I guess, that definitely is lets you do more of your own thing.
Yeah, I'm holding up my this tea towel is I got it from the last Homely House.
Kate.
So like her goose and her cats and everything.
Her bees. I see that.
And when I got it, immediately I thought, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. And but it took me like a year and a half to actually start it. And then like this year, I really spent some evenings.
Those quilt blocks are so cute. And you've got it. If it's from Kate, it has to be loud and proud and colorful, or you're not paying homage absolutely. To her. I
know, for sure. So I'm almost done with it. I just have the bottom row of the quilt blocks to do, because my other thing is I'm not going to embroider every little thing on here, because then it would be too much.
It's lovely. It's just darling.
So that's my modern touch on it, I'm calling it.
There you go.
But that's a hand needle art, and I like it. I just like the freedom to put whatever you want. I can put colonial knots all in this section, or I can do chain stitch here, or other stitches. And I think that's why I just cross stitch, which is weird, because I am a contradiction sometimes, because I'm very detail oriented, and that would be perfect for a detail oriented person. But I'm also kind of like I love curvy sewing and curvy quilting, double wedding quilts. So I just like more organic things.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's just why.
It depends on like what you're looking for at different times, because you're looking for the creative freedom. Yeah. I'm looking for, in some ways, to get away from decision fatigue. Someone's made this decision for me. I just need to go in and out here, change the colors, and knitting is the same way.
Yeah.
Like you just, the knit stitch for 200 stitches is just somehow just frees the mind of any like types of decisions. And sometimes that's what I'm after. Sometimes I'm after the, more of scratching the creative itch. It just depends on where you're at.
Yeah. And I just started knitting in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. And I've always wanted to knit. I just, it's been one of the things, but no one around me knits. And there's not a ton of yarn shops around here. In fact, I'm driving an hour and 15 minutes away, and that's with low traffic, on November 3rd to do a meet and greet with Arne and Carlos. The
Are
knitters
you
from Norway.
serious? Yes.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I am
So
insanely jealous.
that's how far away, like a nice yarn shop. There's a couple in the city that I've seen, but some of them have closed down. There was a real nice one just the town over from me, but then they closed down. So around here, it's just a little more challenging to find local yarn shops.
That's the same
And
here.
yeah,
Yeah.
so but now like you can YouTube. I learned entirely on YouTube how to knit. And when I wanted to knit like 15 years ago, there really wasn't.
Trying to learn how to do a long tail cast on from a book
Yeah.
is ridiculous, which is how I learned to do it. But my husband read me the instructions as I was trying to do it. And then I got a DVD. That's how long ago it was for
Yeah.
me. And that really helped. But YouTube, obviously you can, I even have a whole playlist on my YouTube channel of other people's videos of teach yourself to knit. These are the best resources.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there's a channel called Very Pink Knits. She is
Okay.
amazing. And if you want to learn how to knit socks, she is the woman to go to. She breaks it down
I
so
have to go back to
beautifully.
that. I've watched a couple of her videos. And there's a couple of other channels. I don't remember their names, but I've watched them. And there's one I'm going to actually talk about it on my next podcast, but she's in Finland and she's young and beautiful and like very cheery.
Is this Kiki?
Yes.
Yes, I love her. I
Look
love
at
her.
we could have won a like guess it game. She's young. She knits.
She's beautiful. She just knit her own wedding dress.
I know.
Yes.
I watched it and I could not believe my eyes. I was rewinding some parts and
I was in it while she was doing it. I was so invested in this. And she was like making design decisions as she went, which blows my mind with knitting.
Yeah.
When people like Stephanie McPhee, the yarn harlot, I don't know if you know she is, but she'll be like designing a shawl and she's like, okay, I'm coming to the corner here. Not really sure what I'm going to do. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? I am so not a three-dimensional thinker, which is why I quilt and don't make clothes. Yes, and I remember Kiki, she made something happen and then like all the sleeves just fell down, like the whole top of the bodice was not working. And I was like, no, but she fixed it, No, is she on your podcast next? Are you saying?
No. But I am going to ask her actually. I'm going to try to get her on for the second half of my season, but no, I've just discovered her. I didn't know anything about her until the wedding dress in the summer. And I was thoroughly amazed, and her personality is so nice, and she's just one of those types of people that doesn't make it look overcomplicated. But it probably is.
Very easy and very appealing, and she knits everywhere, so it's just like you can just take this.
I know. Yeah,
everywhere.
She takes it with her everywhere. Sometimes I need to focus, so I can't take like a complicated knit, but I'll take like the elementary everywhere.
Right.
Because
Until
it's
it gets
just
too
a straight
big.
stockinette.
Then it's like
right.
Yeah. That's my problem now.
Yes, but I could not believe she knitted her wedding dress, and it was perfect. It was just
well, I mean, let's just face it, that anything would look beautiful on her. She's just got the most perfect little shape.
She does. She has, the perfect silhouette.
It was gorgeous, though. Absolutely gorgeous.
And then when she twirled, that was it. I was just like, oh, drop the mic.
Yeah, and she just had a book come out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get it.
I thought about getting it. My problem with her knitted sweaters is she has a couple details that I don't think would work for me at I'm tall and stuff. She does a lot of very balloony sleeves, which I don't know about on a knitted sweater. And she does these very thick necklines and stuff. But one thing I do like is she has necklines that really, like I'm wearing a boat neck here, but that come up here. I feel like so many knitted sweaters, the neckline's way out here, and people are always wearing like a t-shirt under them. I'm like, that's not cool. So but she's got a bunch of, very cute style details, and
my only thing is that she probably, because on her free pattern, when I signed up for her email or whatever, went up to an extra large. So I'm like, oh, I'm just outside of her thing because her sweater is generous. I mean, I'm like,
yeah, I was gonna say she does everything very
wide
oversized.
enough. So I think I'm going to still try to make it because it seems wide enough. But I was thinking but I mean, even just one more inch would really probably make that fit better. So now how do I figure that out?
Yeah. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Knitwear designers, I think, are just in a whole different class themselves with how they do their patterns and the adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, are there any other whips you want to talk about that you've got going on?
Well, so you and I are both knitting the elementary shawl. Did you start it last year with when Francis and I started it? Yeah. How far are you?
All right. I have a sad story about this.
Oh no.
Where did it go? Here it is. So I have restarted this thing. So I got 8 inches, and then this is when I just first conquered the purl stitch. So this is a very good exercise for that, but I wasn't happy with the way the tension was looking. So I pulled that out and I started again. And then I kept going, but I have 10 inches here.
Okay. Yeah.
But you could see these holes and it's uneven tension. But I'm like, what? They're not. The stitch is correct. It's just that it's very loose.
It's not a dropped stitch. Okay.
It's not a dropped stitch. I looked at the pattern. Guess what? I'm using the wrong size needle.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think you need a different size needle.
Too small. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, I'm so disgusted with this.
Is it too small? I would actually think it would be too big. Usually if their needles are too big, that gives you that looser look. I would think you'd want smaller needles.
Really?
Yeah. That's going to tighten things up. Well,
here's the thing that confused me with that. Purl Soho, which has the pattern, almost several years, they have done this pattern in a different type of yarn and in a different way. Some of the cast-ons are different number of stitches and stuff. So the original one I looked at is what I bought the yarn for. And then the one that I pulled the instructions for, I think is with the linen yarn or something like that. I just thought that it's the same instruction. So however I find this pattern, instead of printing it out, I would just go back on, and because it's a stockinette stitch, so you don't need to print it out, right? Well,
exactly. But yeah. So do you know what weight of yarn you're using?
I think that this is Aran. Or no.
Aran's usually heavy.
It's DK.
Okay, see DK,
but it's cashmere. I'm not cashmere. It's alpaca wool blend.
So it's got a loft and that kind of fluffy fibers. Yeah.
It's not a.
And what size needles are you on?
Thing, and then I am on. Whoa, that's really small.
Yeah.
I can't read the numbers on here. A 5.
Oh.
I think it's a 5.
Yeah, that doesn't sound.
It's a 3.75 millimeter.
Okay, I'm not off the top of my head. I'm not sure, but you might try swatching. As much as we hate to do that, I would go a little bit smaller if you've got holes. But then also, when you block this at the end, you're going to soak it, and a lot of those little holes might the yarn will redistribute a little bit. So
here at the beginning, I was doing fine. So I don't know why. I think when I started traveling with it and taking it with me, that's when it started to get all crazy.
And if you stop mid-row, I'm not really perfect about this, but if you stop mid-row and then you pick it up a week later, sometimes that can be a wonky stitch there.
I think that's probably what happened, because when I was just doing it at home, down here, it looks a lot better and more consistent.
Yeah, that could be.
But anyway, it's all coming out.
It's worth it. It's
And
worth it. It's
I'm
all
like,
just
I don't
knitting
even
anyways.
know if I'm going to restart this one. I might like find a different pattern for this yarn because I'm so fed up with it.
Oh, put it in timeout. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
am hoping to finish that this year. So I just pulled
Ooh, I
that
can't wait
out.
to see. Yeah.
And it's and I did use the linen quill, I think it's called.
Oh, see?
That yarn from Pearl Soho, and it's very
Yeah.
beautiful. It's kind of a dusty pink. It's very pretty.
Ooh, I love that color. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I had a hard time picking colors for that.
That's
And
going to be
then
nice.
the other thing I'm knitting is, I live in Southern California, so knitting is problematic for me. Is this everything's too hot? Even I don't even have. There's not that much time of the year I can wear my knitted socks. Just even though I love to make them. So that's when I started knitting, and I've just kind of started on this knitting hats for charity. For it's called Knots of Love, and they do hats for people undergoing chemo. And I'm a breast cancer survivor, so that seemed like a good fit. So I've got about 3 hats ready to go that I need to send them, and that also it's an easy pattern. They have free patterns on their website, and so that kind of scratches that itch for me when I get obsessed with knitting for a while. I can knock out a few hats.
That's how it happens for me. It seems like I get obsessed because last year, I knitted hats and cowls for my family. And from October through December, and boy, by the time I was done with all of those, I'm like, oh, it's a good time to take a break because I was just on this knitting obsession.
I know I'm the same way. I'm the same way. And so that's nice that we've got like different hobbies that can, feel I'm so done knitting. Okay, I'm going to go make a quilt
Isn't it nice? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I just like and I like that knitting is newer to me because it's fun to learn. I just love learning and just trying to do a new I like to try it all really, except for cross stitch because I've already tried it.
Do you go down the rabbit hole on YouTube of like finding all the knitting YouTubers? And then, it's the same thing for all they call it floss tube for cross stitch. And, and people, you can find people have different styles and different little tricks and different personalities. And it's just kind of fun to dive into that world for a little while.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that the cross stitch patterns and what they turn out to be are very pretty. I mean, I do admire them, and I admire the needlepoint as well because that's done with a more like fluffy wool thread or yarn. But it's the same sort of concept of on a grid.
Yeah, I would like to try needlepoint because I think I've seen some very beautiful, like sort of tapestry pillows that I feel like I could maybe use in my decor, but those things are expensive. Like
they are. I never knew how expensive it was, but my client gave me like a bunch of needlepoints she had finished, and I took them to a place to be blocked. And while I was waiting, I was looking around at all their whatever you call them.
Canvases, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And beautiful designs. And they were they were like $300 and up. And I was like, what?
Just for the canvas. Just for
the canvas. Well, I asked my client, I'm like, why are these so, she said they're hand painted.
Yes.
That's why.
I know. There's a quilt pattern designer that's out there that she does quilts, and then now she's into doing needle points, and she does like these bags, or you can frame them or whatever. And I'm like, okay, this is perfect because they're these modern designs, but she hand paints them, and this 5x8 pattern is $150.
Yeah,
just like, but she sells out, so other people are apparently willing to pay that. But that just knocked my socks off.
Me too. So I'm like, I think I'll stick with quilting.
Yeah. All of a sudden, quilting looks like a bargain.
One last thing I want to show you. This is something I just started a couple weeks ago. It's a sweater for my dog.
That is
How cute
darling.
Is this? This is a Pearl Soho pattern too.
Is it?
Yeah. And you're supposed to, that's how far I am. So I'm all the way up. I'm at the part where you're starting to shape the arms, but
yes,
it took 4 skeins of yarn, and I only had 2 of each of these colors. So this is like one of my creative, things that I did. I'm like, every 2 inches, it's going to be a stripe.
Oh, good for you.
So I switch out the
so
yarn every 2 inches, and I really like how it's turning out.
absolutely, it's like he could be like go to Hogwarts or something. He's like it's
Yeah.
like a house sweater, or something.
I told my
And
husband,
yeah,
this
and
is
you're
looking like a
dividing for
rugby sweater.
the sleeves or something. Like
Uh-huh.
that's more advanced knitting. So good on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So now that I have, I know. When I got just like the back done, and then you had to start doing the round part of the belly, I started to look ahead at the steps, and then it just totally like overwhelmed me. And I'm like, how am I going to finish this? But I can, because it's broken down, and I like the way that they did the pattern and the instructions, because they are in little groups of like, this is the this part, and then this is
The
just
chest, and this is the
the
belly.
chest.
Like,
Yes, the
yeah.
chest, and this is the divide the chest, and this is the arms, and so
One step at
it's
a
a
time.
lot of steps, but I mean, I'm getting through it, and it's pretty impressive, I must say.
It absolutely is. Absolutely.
So yeah, like you, I haven't done a ton of quilting, but I'm about to get back on that soon. How about you?
Yeah. I think that, I've kind of not had a bunch of quilting mojo for a while here. I kind of took a break from designing my own patterns and just started doing other people's patterns, which helps because, again, less decisions to make.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the middle of some sort of remaking things. I'm in the middle of a granny square quilt. I've already done a granny square quilt, but, like I try not to repeat things too often. But that's kind of a fun, easy quilt. Is the Lori Holt pattern. And what's fun about that is sort of each block can be its own little work of art in terms of your contrast and your color placement. And that granny square style block, and hers is a great granny square, so it actually has one more layer of squares, so it's a big block, and yeah, so you can just it can look very different depending on what the contrast is between each round. So I'm working on that. One of my favorite quilts I made last year was called Cabin Valley. It's this modern log cabin all in solids, and I loved it, and it came together in no time because it's just log cabins. And then I gifted that. But I really want one. So now I'm just going to make that one again.
Yeah, make it for yourself. I know it's so hard for me that we have one quilt in this house. It's my husband's, and it's, because he asked me to make this for him, and I did a t-shirt quilt from all of his, well, I guess they're considered vintage rock shirts now, like Nirvana, Metallica, Rush, like all those. And because I give everything away, and now I'm just like, put my foot down. I need to make, a quilt for me. And
yes, you should. Yeah. See, I was the opposite. I just made them for us for the longest time. So I have all the early quilts I made, which are not at all my style. I was like trying to figure out what my style was. And I did a lot of darks and what, in the fabric, what do you call dulls, even 19 or what 18, what are the reproduction fabrics, the Civil War things. I have one of those that I kind of, it's the best size and weight, but aesthetically it does not do anything for me anymore. But at some point, I've told the story in my podcast before. I had this online friend on Instagram, and she was just this beautiful person, quilter, and we, exchanged fabric. We had this whole thing, and she fell down the stairs, putting away suitcases, and broke both legs, and then just very out of the blue, I think she developed blood clot and she died. She was like 50 years old, just like boom.
Oh, no.
And I was absolutely heartbroken. And her family, when they did her funeral, they asked if you've ever received a quilt or something from Renee, bring it. That whole church was covered in quilts and scarves and hats and socks and, all the things she had made and given away. And I went, oh my gosh, I am such a selfish quilter. I need to give things away. Oh my, it's like just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, what are you doing? So now I'm on a mission. Like each one of my siblings has one. I have some of my friends, my best friend's mom. Like I'm on a mission to give it away. But what's funny is because they were all hard to give away because I loved all of those quilts. I'm like, but no, I want to keep this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I started giving away, and that feels good. But I feel like I want more quilts that are my aesthetic in my house than I
and that's why I enjoy your podcast too, is that, you know, that's an area where we have been different, but it's been like when you say I don't make gifts for the holidays, and I have a problem with that because for myself, because I get myself into these like crazy, you know, time crunches, and I need to like I've done better. Last year I did well because all I, you know, did were like the hats and the cowls and stuff. So that was a lot less stressful. But, you know, years before that, and I'm like, I need to take a page out of Kristin's book and do my best this year to not make those
the
gifts.
Holidays are stressful enough to put all that on. So every gift I've given has just been out of the blue. Like, here is a gift. I love you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like not a birthday because I don't want to feel like there's anything that needs to be reciprocal. This is just for you, you know? Yeah. So no, go easy on yourself with the holidays. So, that's my whole mantra.
I've enjoyed, hearing that from you. And so it's kind of inspiring to me to stop the insanity.
Good.
So talking about your podcast, let's learn about that and your blog, Simple Handmade Every Day.
So when I first started blogging, I don't even know when that was, you know, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, it actually started out as a mommy blog, and it was called They Grow Up Too Fast. And it was, you know, it's about my kids and homemaking and things like that. And then as I discovered quilting, that sort of content started to take over. And then I really wanted it to be a quilting blog. So there's you know, there's tutorials and free patterns, and I kind of went that way for a while. But then my friend Frances Dowell, she's the Off Kilter Quilt. I listened to her podcast. That's how we originally met. Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
she's
I
amazing.
had her on my show early on. She was. I love her. She's so nice, and I love her podcast too.
And the way she talks, I could just listen to her read the phone book. She has just such a beautiful voice, which is why when she reads for her quilt fiction podcast, it's just like I could listen to that all day long. But so we were now friends, and we talk very regularly, and you know, we just talk about all the things that, you know, we're into, right? She's like, you should have a podcast, and she literally just said, and you should talk about your quilting and your knitting and like the books you're doing and the TV shows that you watch and like your organizing tips. That's what it should be. And I sat on it for probably a year, but then I just did exactly that. I just did exactly what she told me to do. And it's worked out great because I think for me, the varied content takes the pressure off having like a quilt done every 2 weeks to talk about, you know, because I cannot be that prolific. And I think, you know, we as crafty people, as people who sew and quilt and knit or whatever, we have a lot of common interests, you know. I think, or a lot of us are readers, and there's a huge number of people of my audience that, you know, love the whole cozy mystery thing on TV or in books that I love. And as people with creative hobbies where our supplies overwhelm us, I think there's always an interest in organizing and you know, things like that. So I think that, you know, the varied content, you know, a lot of people have commented that they like that. So that's kind of how it started, and it's coming up, I think, on 4 years, which is, I find kind of amazing.
I know it goes fast because I just started my 5th year, and I can't believe it. Frances, and when I had her on the podcast, I told her she was really you know, vital part of me actually going for it and starting it. Like I took literally 4 years of I researched Pat Flynn, the equipment. I had the microphone and everything first. And then it was just that fright. It was just like, what if nobody listens? What if I sound stupid? And
I totally get it. I dragged my feet for about a year, and I really did it on the cheap. I bought a decent microphone, and I think that's all the equipment that I bought.
well, and Frances says she records on a record. Well, it just died. She's the one that she's had for a long, long time.
And I don't know what it looks like, but I'm assuming it's just like this little handheld thing.
That's what I thought it was too.
Yeah, which, yeah, exactly. So, and her sound has always been good. So I really did worry about my sound for a long time. But I feel like I finally got that dialed in.
Yeah, yours is good. I like it.
Thank you.
And
I recorded in the master bedroom closet for about the first 2 years.
Did you really?
I really did. I would put this piece of plywood over the hamper and just put my computer there and drag a chair in because, it was small and closed and had lots of dampening, and then it just got to be summer and it got too hot. And so I couldn't do that anymore.
I know. I get a chuckle out of people who do record in their closets because I don't know. I guess if maybe I have an area rug and draperies, and even like over the doorway here, I have a drapery panel that I will close if like my husband's home and stuff, but it all absorbs sound. And I've never had an issue with the echo that all these other people say they have. But
if you could,
maybe you need to get an area rug.
When I do record, I record in this room that I'm in now, and I have just usually a pile of pillows right in front of me just for that dampening, because it's kind of an empty room since my children left.
Oh, yeah. Aw, empty nester.
Yeah.
Aw. And so let's talk about, you had a major decorating project this year. Your master bath.
Could have gotten through it without you, Stephanie.
And it's because I listened to your podcast, and that one podcast, I felt so bad for you. And I am like, I have to reach out to her because I just,
that woman is stuck.
Yeah. And I'm like, whether she wants my help or not, I just have to offer it because I just, I felt like just very terrible that you were going through such a hard time over,
over a silly bathroom remodel. Yeah. Yeah. So we've been in this house for 26 years, and our bathroom, and the house is like 35 plus years old. And the master bathroom is the last room that we have not done anything with. And for a number of reasons. One is just that, and who cares? It's just us, that sees it. And every time we kind of geared up to do it, there were just better things to do with the money. So finally, it was at the top of the list. And that was my goal for this year. If I do nothing else, Lord, let me get this bathroom done. Mm-hmm. And it was dated. The color scheme was dated. We had this light fixture that had been drooping for 10 years, and the paint was peeling. It was terrible. So, part of the problem of why it was so hard to get started on it is this house. One of the things I liked about it is that there are lots of angles in the house, and the bathroom countertop and vanity had like this 45-degree angle on on the left-hand side where that little wall was. So I could not just pop into any, bathroom store and just like your Home Depot or whatever, just buy one, which I tried. You and I talked about that. Let's just leave that empty. And just somehow it didn't work. So I think the hardest thing getting off the ground was the vanity, because I felt like was it you that was like, you need to start with the floor? But for me, I needed to start with the vanity. I don't know maybe it was somebody else that said, start with the floor.
We did talk about the floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I told you to start with it though. It was probably
okay. That might've been, I had gotten a lot of advice on this thing. Yeah. Lots of it contradictory. But I probably went down the road with 4 different companies trying to find the vanity. Ultimately, I did what I should have done from the beginning. Is the people who did our kitchen was just the Home Depot custom cabinet counter, And that's what we ended up doing in the bathroom. And they, and that's the funny thing about going to a big box store like that is I went down that road with Lowe's and the designer was terrible. And we have 2 Home Depots in 2 neighboring towns. And I tried to go down it with the closer one, and that designer was terrible, but the one in a different town was fabulous. So it's, it's not
it's really
everything is created
a hit or
equal.
miss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, I guess one thing I hadn't really thought about was, again, decision fatigue, that I kept thinking, why is this so hard? And I realized that for the bathroom remodel, which just was the vanity and the light fixture in the mirror and some paint, we didn't do the tub in the shower. It was the same number of decisions that I made when we did our kitchen remodel. It's a cabinet and a sink and a faucet and handles and paint and lighting, and but for like such a smaller payoff than a kitchen,
Yeah, I heard you mention that you were fine with the kitchen remodel and you were surprised at how, challenging the bathroom seemed to you.
I think I didn't.
You don't have a small bathroom either. It's pretty sizable. It's kind of
it's pretty big, not huge, but I mean, I think that I wanted that kitchen remodel, and I knew what I wanted it to look like going in, and I just wanted someone to come in and fix this ugly bathroom, but I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted, and I guess that's really it. Is you need to have a vision for it, or every decision is hard because there's too many options if you're not going down a certain path already.
Yeah, that's one of the things too that I try to avoid with clients is too many options, and some of them want to see every option in the world. You're like, there are so many right answers to this that you've just got to narrow it down to what you don't like and what appeals to you naturally with other things. And then I can help zero in on exactly what you really are, have in your mind, but you just don't know yet.
Right. Well, some of the things that you were very helpful with was, I was a little afraid, I'm a neutrals girl, and I love color in some places, but, I don't know. I struggle with use of color, which is an embarrassing thing to admit as a quilter, but it's true. I do. And so the bathroom had before, had this very 1980s French country blue vibe to it, including parts of the tile floor. And we had painted an accent wall, which was all the rage in the 90s. Let's just be honest about that. It
was the one accent wall.
Yeah, it's true. Everyone had the burgundy one in their dining room is what I remember. But we had this blue one because when you are like in our bedroom, when you look towards the bathroom, you just see the tub and this big wall right behind it. And it just was so white. And that's what I was a little afraid of. And you were like, don't worry, you helped me kind of narrow down some very beautiful kind of like a linen type of a white color. And you said, we will fix the color issue with decor. Like, don't worry. Cause I'm like, it's too much white. Should I do the accent wall? She's like, no, don't do the accent wall.
No accent wall, please.
So that was very helpful. And then if you remember my whole dilemma, the mirror, I was texting you when you were texting me pictures, and ultimately you told me, go to a framer and just get one that fits that size exactly. And it was honestly expensive, but the guy measured it, and he was so good. And he said, just like, let me tell you what you want, because whatever you tell me is going to be too small. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go bigger than anything you would imagine. And he was right. And it's just a simple walnut frame, which I was really worried about because I was also afraid of it feeling sterile because we went with like the brushed nickel look and a lot of white. And so he did like a warmer wood frame that it doesn't match the cabinets. It's darker, but and we've kind of used that walnut darker wood accent in different areas on the clock, on a picture frame. And I feel like it warms the space up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that was the best decision. And I lost so much sleep over it of being right.
Yeah. So. And, when you're decorating, we all have budgets, unless we are, lucky to be in the 1%, but I'm not.
Right.
You're probably not.
No.
I don't want to assume, but
Clearly not.
so you have to put your investment to what's really going to make the impact, but also where the right size really matters. And with that mirror, you really needed it. You could not really do well with a standard, commercial pre-made mirror size, because a lot of them were too small.
Yeah.
And and that's a trick that I use a lot. I mean, we have, and I freelance for another designer, and we do a lot of, especially in bathrooms and powder rooms, custom frame mirrors, because it's such an important feature, and it's a very hard one to find ready made.
Yes, I mean, every bathroom is these different dimensions, and
Mm-hmm.
so finding the thing that really fits, because obviously the mirror is a big part of the room, So
Mm-hmm.
if it's too
Yeah.
small, it's going to look awkward.
Especially in your master bath where you get ready there every day. The other thing too is to just think about, because I know it's hard to fathom like the expense of a custom frame thing, but when you piece it in the overall picture of your renovation, give that piece more, budget, because, and you can give other things much less budget, but because you're using it every day.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so it's an important part of your daily living. So, I mean, if it were something that, never gets use, or, is just pretty to look at, that's a whole nother thing. Then you can definitely do whatever. But, I feel like it's really important to have, the right size for the mirror. And like you said, you have a nice skylight in your bathroom, so that also helps to bounce the light back into the room.
Yes. Yes. And the other thing in redoing this bathroom is that we may never redo it again. You know what I mean? It was, so, spend out on it, because it's an investment. It's not, expensive towels or something that are going to go. It's something that's going to be there, I mean, I don't know why we would ever even need another mirror in there. It's perfect for it. And so it'll always be that way.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And when you refer to it's all white in there, it is a warm white, though.
It is.
And that makes a huge, huge difference.
And I didn't even realize how much until my friend and I do have a friend who's, she's not a professional interior decorator. She just has an eye, and it's kind of a hobby. She's done a gazillion houses, but she helped me look for a floor. I didn't know where to look, what I wanted for the floor. And so we went to this tile place and we pulled some things. And one I really liked in comparison to the other ones. We kept saying, it's going to be too brown, it's too dark, but I'm like, oh, I really like, well, let's just bring it home. And when I brought it and put it next to the tub, I'm like, this tub is not white. This is actually, it's kind of it's not cream, but it's a warmer
like
white. It's not,
yeah.
And I always assumed my tub was like a bright white, It never really had thought about it. And so when I put that kind of warmer tile on it, I was like, this is perfect. And when I walk into that room every day now, I think it's really the floor that I love the most. The floor, I find the floor gorgeous. And so, and I was so just happy that fell into place. And so, it is, I say white, but everything's a very warm white. It's not cold and sterile in any way.
Right. Absolutely. And the other thing too is that you had mentioned the word Zen a lot. So I kind of knew also what direction, especially like with the, accent wall, and I'm like, no, that's not really Zen.
That's true. That brings a whole different energy to the bathroom.
And also your tub was, the accent wall was on the tub wall, right?
Yes.
So that's why you thought your tub looked white, because it had that blue behind it, which kind of
made it more cool, even
cooler than it really was.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I mean, it was fun. I'm so glad that you, were so open to this, and because I wanted to help you.
Yes. Well, okay. I also just have to tell you another part. You were super helpful because I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel really confident in accessorizing. And so
Mm-hmm.
you're the one so I'm texting you pictures and saying, what do I do with this wall? And you're like, you need a big piece of art over the tub with some color, which is what
Mm-hmm.
we did. And then on the other wall, you're just like, you need some towels. And ultimately I got I think I just showed you this weekend. It was more of a towel rack that has a little shelf, so I could put
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more going on there. But I've really struggled with the accessories and the color, and your suggestions have just kind of kept me going down the right road. As you
Oh,
can tell, I'm
good.
just like a puddle of indecision when it comes to this stuff. It was so hard to install that towel rack because I'm just like, I'm so scared it's going to be wrong. I was afraid it was going to crowd the picture because of the shelf, and I'm
Right.
like,
It
we're
doesn't.
drilling these half-inch, holes in
That's
the
true.
wall.
I know.
And
But,
yeah, so
it is only paint and you can spackle.
I know that's what I said to my husband. There's spackle. We have leftover paint. It's okay. But it is hard to make those decisions like that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well, because you're so invested in it. And, and now that stage of it is really the jewelry of the room. And, you don't want to mess that
your
up,
jewelry can
right?
make or break it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It can. It can. So thank you for all the help. I'm very happy with it. It makes me. It's been done for a few months now, basically, except for some of the
Hmm.
accessory stuff, and I kind of smile every time I walk in there now. It feels
You
it
love
feels like my
it?
space. Yes,
Good.
it reflects me, and I like that.
That's the goal. Yes. I just want, when I work with clients, I want them to love their home. And it really have to work around, a combination. It's really a collaboration in what, your um, priorities and your needs are and what your likes are. And then putting that together with good design will make you so happy, which you are happy. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Yes.
And I'm also glad that you were open to when I suggested the color because I did have a slight worry that everything was just going to be all neutral with no no color at all. So, and when I saw the photo of that artwork with like the beautiful reds and blues, and it just really just made that room sing. It was just perfect.
Yeah, and I was worried about not finding the right thing there. It was actually my husband that found that. And because
Mm-hmm.
he's more of the color person than I am actually. So
Mm.
we're looking through just art.com
Mm-hmm.
at all the prints,
Mm-hmm.
and we settled on that one, and they were good to work with. So that kind of is a more they will frame it for you. They'll send you the print or they will frame it and ship
Mm-hmm.
it to you. So
Mm-hmm.
so that worked out, but that
Yeah,
took a few.
and you got it the right size because it is true that people are just notorious for doing everything too small, except for sometimes sectionals. Then they do those too big.
Yes. Yeah, we actually started looking at that. We actually were going to go bigger. And then I actually went and got some painter's tape and taped out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, oh, that is overwhelming, this wall. So then we just
Well,
like went the
good. That was
next
a
size
smart thing to
down.
do. Yeah, absolutely. So you can get an idea of the size of it because wall art is very, tricky in that way because you don't, and when you're seeing it in, first of all, online, it's hard to determine scale. And
Yes.
then when you're seeing it in a store, you've got like, 25-foot ceiling and all the space around you. So you might think something is smaller than what it really is too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
Hmm.
Yes. No, I'm very visual. I needed to just
You need to see
tape
it.
it up there. I do. I do. So that worked. My husband was like, what are you doing? But that's what I needed.
You're like, just let me do my thing.
Yes. We popped a bottle of wine and we just sat down with the computer and said, let's figure out this art thing.
Oh, that's
So,
cool. Well, I am so glad, and it turned out so nice. And I'll get some photos from you, or if the
yes.
photos, some of the photos you sent me, if you allow me to post those onto the podcast blog,
Yeah, I'll
when this
send you some
episode
more. I want to get it
airs.
fully styled before
Okay, good. Send me some
send it
more
to you.
then.
Yes, and I'll
Okay,
send you
good.
some horrific.
Yeah.
You've got the befores. I'll send you some befores that kind of
Hmm.
match the angle too, to just
Oh,
show
good.
uh, what we were
Yeah,
working
yeah.
with.
Trust me, it wasn't really, you weren't working with something that terrible.
I was ready
Not
though.
at all. Yeah, yeah. It's just a nice feeling though when you do an update. So, um, it just really is. And if I had all the budget in the world, I would be updating like like my rich clients do every five
Yeah, yeah.
years. That is the funniest thing to me because sometimes when we go in for a project and they're just talking about, oh, this is just, it looks terrible. It's starting to get ratty looking and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what are you talking about? Because don't see anything. It
Yeah,
looks in
yeah.
perfect condition. And even like a kitchen too. And then you just are like, this kitchen looks great, but they want the whole redo of, and we're
Well, I
talking
did
like,
Tuscany and now I want white and like
yeah,
they
yeah,
the
and then
styles change.
all the smart appliances that come with it and everything.
Oh,
We just purchased a refrigerator last week, and my husband and I, and there's this big, huge store about 45 minutes north of us called ABT, and they have, I mean, the largest warehouse of trucks, and they serve the whole Chicagoland area probably, and then some, and they have online sales too. So who knows, people around the, country can get stuff too, like a microwave, who knows? But, and you go in there and their showroom is huge, and it's almost like I hadn't been there in a while, and they had made some updates, and I'm like, this is like the Disneyland for adults. It was just, because they sell TV screens, and there was all this one section for the YouTubers with their little camera holders and stuff. And
oh my goodness, that's a whole new market.
yeah, and then we walked around, and then there was a whole like fancy kitchen showroom part. Okay, and there was this one. I mean, it's gorgeous. I said, "Oh, I've always wanted this, French." It's a French style of a oven stove, and but it had to have been at least 8 foot wide, and it was the complete entire like stove and whatever it is, encompass ovens, and then the backsplash with all of the things, and then the giant hood coming over it with like the brass or copper strips along it. And then I look at the price tag for that whole setup, $109,000.
Oh my gosh. Who does that?
Gosh.
But it sounds amazing.
It looked amazing. It was just like, wow, that I probably might want to cook dinner if I had this kitchen.
But would you really? Then you'd be like, no, I don't want it to get all greasy or spattered.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it was fun, and it was interesting just to see. I mean, the prices have gone up so drastically. It is insane. It's crazy. Like even the Le Creuset, I love those. I've collected them over the years. Thank goodness, because the price that they are now, I could never.
Yeah.
Just,
but I have two and I love them. So I'm with you. We have an outlet here. And so you can get them a little bit cheaper, but not a ton.
I know. Yeah. We have an outlet too. And it's always the wrong color. Although I have strayed. I started with that classic red, and I have probably about two of those. Yeah. And then I got on the outlet, it was like that skillet with you don't need to season the inside.
Okay.
And it was like this French blue color, and I'm like,
okay, those
I like
are the
that
two colors
color,
I have.
and it goes and I love
Yes.
it, and so it's not the whole. So I don't have the whole like just red thing anymore, but I like it. The red and the blue go well together anyway. So
They do. And I've got the red big front Dutch oven. And then
Yep.
last year, my husband bought me the blue. It's kind of still a Dutch oven, but smaller, kind of because we thought we're not going to need the big Dutch oven as often. And it's our favorite pot, but I'm not cooking for 5 people anymore. So we've got the smaller one, which is just beautiful. So
yeah, I love their stuff. So
yeah. But I'm the opposite with redoing. I want to get my house where I want it, which it has never been, and then just stop, just like just live in it and not ever think about it. But I can never. My problem is I feel like I never finish a room. Really? You know, it's like I get it. Well, kind of how like it's been with the bathroom.
Oh.
I got it 90% there
with the accessories.
Then just stop. Yeah. And that's kind of how it is. Like my family room is I like it, but what it really needs is some good throw pillows that bring in a color. So that's my problem. I'm a neutrals girl because I don't want to commit to a color scheme. And then my problem is I never add the color because I can't quite figure out like if, that red looks too stark. It looks too dark against all this neutral or And so, And so I've got that. I mean, there is a whole aesthetic that is all the neutrals and that's what I'm rocking right now. But I kind of aspire to get some more color in there. But
Oh, that's good. Yeah, color is good. And I like neutrals too. In fact, I like a base of neutrals so that you can layer on the colors.
Yes. If you get around to layering on the colors.
Well, I mean, you can even sew your own pillows and try it out. And sort of that's how you can audition colors for what you want.
I've been threatening to do that. And I think that is really good.
And then spend more money if you want like the fancier, decorator fabric pillows. So you won't make a mistake there. You can just, sew some simple ones up and see how you like the color. Because sometimes you have, all right, when you're not used to seeing color like that and you're used to your neutral palette, that splash of color can be jarring at first. But if you live with it for a little bit, I think you get a better feel for either a couple of things are going to happen. You're going to it's going to be irritating you, or it's growing on me. I think I like it. Oh yeah, this really looks so much better. And then when you take it away, you see that it's really missing.
Yes. And that's that's a good idea. I'm going to do that. I've been kind of thinking about the whole sewing pillows and even some of the more, kind of pricier, like Pottery Barn pillows. They don't even have any piping or anything. They're just a 24-inch zipper thing. So I'm just like, okay, I don't need to worry about putting, the flange or something. I can just sew 2 big things and I know how to do a zipper, and that would really help me get better at it and just try some color schemes. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool.
You've inspired me.
We just did an online consult.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you what was next on your decorating list, but I think that's next. So
I think it is. It wasn't. That's not what I was thinking it is. But
what were you thinking?
Well, we've got these 2 kids' bedrooms. I've got 3 kids, 2 bedrooms. The boys always shared, and we're empty nesters. They're out. So I need to figure out what to do with these spaces. In a way that enables all 3 kids to still come home at the same time. So I can't get rid of, like, it's embarrassing, but we've got bunk beds for these 2 20-something 6'4" men. But that's
they're still young.
Yeah. But I'd kind of like to move my sewing space into what was my daughter's room, but still trying to figure out how do I fit things like a cutting table and all that, and still have a bed. I'm thinking the dresser might need to go. We don't need to have a dresser in a guest room.
Yeah, toss that dresser. It takes up too much space.
It really does. I think that's my cutting table space right there. So that's
depending upon how tall that dresser is, though, because you could convert that to cutting, or you could convert it to the whole top of it to like an ironing
station.
Space.
Yes, I've definitely seen that. But it's not, the size of the height of it would be fine. It's just, it's not deep enough for a cutting. And I'm a 24 by 36 inch cutting mat gal. So, so it's more like ideas are marinating in my mind here, but these rooms, they need to be painted. So they need a plan. And so
cool.
that's what's
that's
next.
fun. I like that. I know, not so much fun for you, but
yeah, it'll be great when it's done. But trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like your next sort of chapter in your living space in life.
Exactly.
And,
to make it fit where we are in our lives, where 300 and I don't know, 50 days a year, we don't need to have these as sleeping areas,
Right.
So we'll see.
Good.
It's exciting.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is exciting for your decorating. I love it. And I love that you love your bathroom. That makes me so happy. It's, gosh, we've been talking for a while and I don't even believe it was that long. But it's been fun. I really am glad that you came onto my show. And, because people have written to me that they love the decorating episodes. So, I guess I got to keep, coming up with stuff for those episodes. So this is going to be a good one. And, in conclusion, I think we probably already even talked about it. What on your to-do list for your hobbies for the rest of the year? Probably some cross stitching.
Yeah, I don't have I need to have things done by a certain time. I want to work on that elementary shawl and knock out the quilts we talked about. I'm in the middle of a big cross stitch project now called Flea Market Flowers. It has this Scandinavian flower look, so it's not really homespun.
That. Yes,
Yeah,
I love that look.
That fit my aesthetic, and that'll take me till the end of the year. It's a big project. So, and I'm perfectly happy just sitting there for every night stitching on that. So. That's kind of where I'm at.
Very nice. I love it. All right. Well, I'll put it all on the podcast blog, but where everyone can find you on Instagram, Facebook, blog, podcast.
You can find everything if you go to the blog, which is Simple Handmade Every Day. You'll find it if you Google that, but it's KristinEsser.com, KristineEsser. And I'm Kristin Esser on Instagram and Simple Handmade Every Day on Facebook.
Good.
And Kristin Esser on YouTube. So one of those two will handle to get you everywhere you need to go.
That's great. Thank you so much, Kristin. It was so much fun talking with you. And it's just happy crafting for the rest of the year.
Absolutely.
I can't even believe we're almost done with 2022. It's insane.
It was a pleasure. And again, thank you so much for all the help with the bathroom. I seriously would have still been just with making no decisions without your help. So I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was a pleasure and it was fun. So, and of course I did have a slight ulterior motive to have it on a podcast. So.
Okay with me.
If I'm going to be honest, I'll trade you. I'll help you with this if you help me with that.
I think I came out the winner on that, so no problem.
Yep. Okay. Well, I will talk with you soon, and I will be continuing to listen to your podcast as well. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I had so much fun chatting with Kristin. We definitely could have talked all day long, as seems to be the case with all of my guests. But before you go, I want to wish all of you the happiest of the upcoming holidays and to enjoy the time with your loved ones and with all of your crafting and decorating activities. Thank you for listening to my Little Maker podcast. Happy holidays, and I will chat with you again in February of 2023. Bye-bye.